And that's something that I talk about in the book a lot, that the exercise of brand building is an exercise of co-creation. It is the same in music and art, any kind of storytelling endeavor, right? I come to you with my story, but what you make of it is through your own lens, right? So we are now co-creating. Even this conversation is a co-creation. The moment that you create anything and you put it into the world is not really yours anymore. It's how, it's open to interpretation. It's the same with music and any kind of art, and brand is exactly the same. Of course, as the founder or the team behind the brand, you can be intentional about how you want to express yourself and how you want to position yourself. But there's always going to be a different lens on the other side, on the receiving side, that interprets that in a slightly different way, in a very personal way. And so it's through this process of co-creation that brands are actually built. And I always say that brand building is an exercise of identity. It's about the consumer identity more than about the brand identity. So all you can do, in effect, is you have to be super clear about who you are and stay consistent with that, right? And then just wait on the other side to be picked up by those people that associate with that identity. That's the only way that brand is actually created, and especially loyalty, which is a topic that many believe that is that. But I believe that it's really just because we've lost a lot of the meaning behind the brand, that consumer just, jump from one brand to another. If you would be consistent and clear about who you are and you would stand for something consistently and coherently, then it would be much easier for people to tune in, because it's a little bit like the radio frequencies, right? You open the radio and there's different channels. You listen to every channel and you figure out which one is more aligned with you that you want to listen to. So you're tuning into that frequency. It happens exactly the same way with brands too.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've seen that recently quite a lot with people. It's a missing brand layer in a lot of communications, which is leading to a shift back to this idea of functionality. And so the talk of functionality and features, you get this lack of meaning. But what it does mean is that you buy out of necessity for the things that you need. So therefore you evaluate on the functionality and the features, because that's all on offer for you to choose from, which means then it's easier for you then to skip from one to the other, because if something else develops a new feature or something else develops something that's a bit more functional or an upgrade, etc., or the price changes, comparing on price, because there's like that missing, for a lot of people, there's that missing brand layer where the meaning holds. And that, like you said, the identity, the people aren't buying products that they see as an extension of themselves or part of themselves. They're just buying something that they need right now because they need it.
Yeah. And that's why luxury brands can charge us a premium on their products, because of that extra meaning associated with the brand. And even that is not really working anymore, because a lot of the luxury brands are going into all kinds of collabs and are diluting their brands as well. Some brands are going back to that. For example, Dior, I think it's a great example with their new creative director, Jonathan Anderson, that they're going back to their heritage much more now. And they're, kind of unlocking a lot of that old meaning back and making it new and reflective of the times that we're living in and relevant again. But it takes craftsmanship, and it takes time, and it takes dedication, and it takes almost like devotion to the brand. And I think when you look at the commercial brands, they are very much focused on revenue generation. It feels like they don't really have that patience anymore to keep creating that new meaning for their consumers. And so what they do is, and that's where the whole nostalgia strategy comes into play, they tap into old, models and products that they developed and reinvent them